And I'm live. It's the Nazarite, bringing you Hebrew lore from days of yore. So, it's Tuesday. Let's talk about the days between the Straits. That's the name given to the 3 weeks between this fast that happened in this past Sunday, the 17th of Tammuz, when the walls of Jerusalem were breached by the Babylonian army, and between the 9th of Av, 3 weeks later, when the temple was destroyed, and exile and everything that happened there. So these days were named the days between the Straits, or the 3 weeks, taken from the verse in Jeremiah's Lamentations, Echat, the scroll of Lamentations, where it says that the enemies of Judah, they all caught up to her between the Straits, meaning in a place where Judah was besieged and couldn't go back or forth and just fell in front of its enemies. What happened there during the times of the siege of Jerusalem and things leading up to the destruction. It was really terrible. It was like it was crumbling on the inside. And I just read the prophets and the different commentaries on what happened there. It's just awful things that went on there. So this is a time of mourning. The 3 weeks, the days between the Straits, are a time of mourning where we abstain from certain things that gladden the heart, that bring us joy. I don't know. I mean, going to the pool, going to a concert, going to the cinema, wearing new clothes, buying something you've really been looking forward to, let's say. These things you tend to put off until after the 9th of Av. So we emphasize, in doing so, in abstaining from certain things that gladden the heart and bring us joy, we emphasize the emptiness, that loneliness, right? The mourning, the sadness, the sorrow, because there are certain things that we had or that were sort of guiding us and a part of us that were lost. Lots of Torah, 2 temples, a lot of people, 10 tribes are lost. And we abstain from these things in order to stir the heart and to get a sense of responsibility of what it is that we need to do now. Our sages teach us that a generation in which the temple was not built is like a generation in which it was destroyed. That great, hey there, James, in the chat. That great is the responsibility of the children of Israel and of all mankind, as human beings. So there is this void in these weeks. And a lot of different things across time and history have befallen the Israelites and the Hebrew people, on this week, these 3 weeks. Bad things, the expulsion from England, if I'm not mistaken, the expulsion from Spain, the expulsion in 2005 from Gush Katif in Israel itself. So the absence of a temple is just one manifestation of this thing that we are lacking. The world is wanting, creation is wanting. There's like this necessity, this something that isn't being met. It's a kind of emptiness, but not all emptiness is bad. In the Tao Te Ching, Lao Tzu says, and I'll quote him, or the translation, "The 30 spokes of a wheel unite in one nave, but it is on the empty space that the use of the wheel depends." Right? In other words, you've got the circle and the spokes, but what really makes it a wheel is the emptiness, is the vacancy, is the thing between, we need to build the temple, says James in the chat. Yeah, you know what? As far as I'm concerned, James, it can be side by side with the mosque. We just need to overcome the differences and unite. We really do. We can do it through pain and through pleasure. And right now it's looking like we're doing it through pain, but that unity will come of all people, on the planet. So the Tao Te Ching says that emptiness has its place. Not only does it have its place, emptiness, lacking, wanting is important. He gives another example. Lao Tzu says, if you fill a cup to the brim, any slight movement will cause it to spill its contents. But if you leave some empty space, then there's room for the liquid to maneuver itself, and the wealth, the contents, is retained therein in fullness. You need to be empty in order to be full. That's a very Taoist way of putting it, but it's a very Hebrew way of putting it too. That's what I love about the Tao Te Ching. It's the only book on Tao that I've read and that I keep reading for over a year, but I'm learning so much from it. I'd like to get more into it, but so the Tao sees emptiness as a virtue. There's a lot there. So the temple, right? A vessel is something that's empty, much like the cup. You need to leave something empty. There's an emptiness that brings fullness. The temple symbolizes the divine presence on this earth. Much like the temple, we, human beings, with our vessel, we have an animal soul, we have a godly soul, we have a body, a physical body, we have a spiritual body. So just like physical energy in this world, which is always shifting and mutating, and it's a giving and receiving thing, always changing, always in motion, likewise is the spirituality of it, which is manifested here physically. It's a relationship, it's a give and take, it's a dialogue between the human being and the Most High. So there's this push and pull, this polarity, this masculine feminine thing at work here. And I think that look, it's indicative of relationships here in this world for sure, because that's what it is. And Israel, right? Jacob got his name changed to Israel. Israel means those who wrestle with God. It's a struggle, it's a wrestle, which causes us to grow and manifest more of the divine. And again, through pain or pleasure, but it will come. So we mourn the destruction of the temple almost 2,000 years ago. But what we perceive as emptiness can be used for fullness. It's transitional, it's going somewhere, it has a purpose, it's in motion. We're still here. Our bodies, our vessels, our emptiness, it's all still here. Our bodies, I think, are the real temple, the original temple. So, and we are the ones steering this ship of our life, right? As individual, as a people, as a collective human being, human race. And it's like that line, be the superhero in your own movie and be the person your dog thinks you are. You have the power. We can steer this, whoever you are, wherever you are, whatever you're going through, you can still steer this. Obviously, there are exceptions to the rule, but the rule is, it may be through pain, maybe through pleasure, but you got this. And these days when we mourn remind us of our responsibility. These days when we mourn remind us of what we can be, what we should be. And it's about returning to our root, repenting, right? Returning to ourselves, the people who we should be, if only we adopted the responsibility. And this burned temple and a previously burned city of Jerusalem, which is now flourishing, it's reminding us what we're still wanting, what we're still lacking. And it's important that we keep striving to fill that void. Always leave a bit of emptiness, but get more in there. Get that so we could get it back out. And in this thing with the vessel, I thought earlier that it's said that we as human beings are supposed to be a merkava, a chariot for the divine presence. And I was thinking about it, that a chariot is a conveyance. It's not a home. It gets you from A to B to C and so on. But it's not a place to dwell in. It's something that transports you from one place to the other. So be the cup, be the vessel, be the chariot, be the temple, be empty, and be full. I'll see you Friday. God bless.